I am just to post that the next podcast is going down. Oh wait, V Deem 32.
Yes.
Anything Exotic Podcast. And let's do a couple of stupid emojis. People tend to love those. Okay.
For anyone who don't know, him and my buddy Tom attempted a podcast, and we just couldn't stay on topic.
We just couldn't do it, and then we had technical errors.
Yeah.
So Tom's not going to be on this one because I haven't heard from him today, and he threatened to turn off group message.
Yeah, we went that far.
Yeah, it went down like that. But yeah, we recorded a we recorded a podcast while I had people over, while we were trying to cook dinner, and then how long I think we got through like 20 some minutes, and then an error started popping up, and I didn't know what that meant, and then I went to review the video, and it just kept overlapping, so it didn't really work. But anyway, we're back. I see you have a nicer scenery behind
I do.
you. That's always nice. Where were you? Where are you now as opposed to last time? You're in the same room.
You mean the very first time?
Yeah, the very first one. Where were you?
Same room,
Same room, just better setup this time.
pretty much.
That's cool, man. So this time, we're gonna go over a couple interesting topics about the street scene. It was actually your idea.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm ready to hear all your opinions on that, and then I'll go ahead and just tag along and talk about whatever we need to talk about.
All right. Well, I actually brought up a topic to Mike here today, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about fake car people.
Oh yeah.
There are those kids out there. And I wouldn't say there's a definition for fake car people, but you know 'em when you see them.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, I think a lot of it is, I met a couple kids when I was in Campfield, and they had a couple cars that had been given to them that they didn't have to pay for, and they kind of like to act like know-it-alls. I don't know if it's because their parents have a lot of money or whatever the case is, but they like to act like they know what the deal is, how to work on cars, and if you notice with them, everything's just a horsepower game. They can't like focus on any other topic, like how well does it handle, what mods do you have, what do you plan on getting done to it, why you're getting that done to it. It's always just, this is what my car is out of the box, and it can beat yours because my parents dropped $40,000 on their 16-year-old son.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think that's definitely a big issue in Campfield. If anyone knows where that is, or if anyone's listening that is in the surrounding area or lives there, they know that a friend of mine went to Campfield High School, and he said that literally the parking lot was just scattered with, like, at the time, like, brand new Challengers and the brand new Mustangs, and just like your typical, like, pony cars, the typical American muscle cars, and their parents worked for Ford or Dodge or whatever. They're just those annoying bratty kids that never had to work a day in their life and get everything handed to them.
Exactly.
But you know what, though? I feel like there's not that big of a problem in Youngstown, though. Not as much as there would be like Campfield or Poland.
No, not so much as in Youngstown. Canfield and Poland are a big one because, Canfield's a rich area, Poland's a rich area, so.
Yeah, you definitely get that a lot around there. And, yeah, I don't know. It just gets old after a while. And then those are the same kids that end up getting older, and then they smoke a whole bunch of pot in high school and do a whole lot of drugs, and then end up becoming dropouts anyway. And and then their car ends up being like 10 years old, and their parents kind of like say, well, too bad for you.
Exactly. And let me tell you what, your stanced car looks absolutely retarded. You do not look, should I say, what you call it, hella flush.
Hella flush?
You do not look hella flush. You look retarded.
There's a lot of, not a lot, but there's a couple of stance kids on my Instagram, and so I don't want to lose interest in people, but stance is not the way that I would go with it. I don't mind a car that's
I
lower.
don't understand why you would want to use a quarter of the tread of your tire and destroy a $200 tire, and you know, 3/4 of the tire's still there.
How did that even become a thing, really? Like I could see like when you lower it a little bit, your center of gravity balances out, but how did that become a thing? Like, what benefits does that have other than visual?
I don't know. It doesn't even look good to me.
Are there any... I don't know if there's really any benefits to it other than it just looks a little different.
When you take a turn, your wheel might fall off.
Yeah, like that would make me kind of nervous. And then a lot of those people, I see videos where these people have really expensive cars that they lowered, and they'll go literally over like these like just pulling out of their driveway, and they'll scrape every single time, and the whole underbody of the car is going to get completely trashed.
You know, and part of the topic I wanted to talk about on fake car people. I actually met this one kid.
Uh-oh.
Like I said, I'm not going to name names. I won't even tell you what kind of car he drives, but
yeah,
he's over here saying it's got about 260 wheel horsepower. And like I said, I'm not the one to judge. And, you know, I asked him what he had done to it. Said a couple of things. Said it was tuned. And I actually wasn't too sure of what it came stock. But he says it was tuned, you know, it had a few other things. I was like, all right, that's cool. And he asked me what's all done to mine. This was, I think, last summer or the summer before that. So I was like almost stuck. And I was just messing around. I was like, yeah, it's got about 500 wheel horsepower. And he's like, how much pounds of boost are you pushing? I was like, 18. He's like, no, wait, there's no way you got 500 wheel horsepower and 18 pounds of boost. I was like, hold on a second. What did you just say? He's like, there's no way you have 500 wheel horsepower and 18 pounds of boost. I was like, PSI means nothing.
It doesn't.
Honestly, you hear all these people, oh, you got to push more boost, you got to push more boost. PSI means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
In relevance to if your car comes boosted or not as well, because like if you look at the stock Cobalt SSs, I know at least for the turboed ones, I think stock they push like 16 pounds of boost. But if you were to take, and they produce 265 horse whatever, but if you were to take like a 370Z, I think they were producing around 500 horsepower just on like 8 pounds. So I think if your car is already has forced induction, you typically, for whatever reason, have higher boost out of the box, but it doesn't produce the same numbers as if you were to take a stock motor and then boost it.
And well, just that comment, I could tell he didn't quite know what he was talking about. And then he proceeds to leave, and we all watch him get on it as he leaves. And I was like, oh, that thing does not have 260 horsepower.
Hard, you can't say what kind of car he drives, so no, it's him.
You know what? I think it was a red car. You know, it was
red. Okay.
It was a red car. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so we got a red car that okay, it's good enough for me.
And I don't know. And that, and you know what else drives me crazy? The kids who, I just put a cold air intake on my car. The box says it should add 15 horsepower. Oh my God.
We tried talking about this on the last podcast, and I was actually asking you guys, and I don't know if we ever actually came up with the answer, but there are some people out there that theorize that putting a cold air intake on it actually causes you to lose power because, well, I think Tom actually figured it out. Did it cause you to lose power because the metal gets hot?
I don't know, like I would say maybe on a different car, like your old rotary motor.
Yeah.
How you were telling me it lost like 2 horsepower on the dyno with an intake?
Yeah.
I can believe that. You know, I never really studied into rotary motors too much, but I did a little bit, and I mean, the general layout of the motor, I can understand why. Yeah. But I mean, as far as my car versus metal versus plastic, metal does me benefits over plastic.
But what about the heat though? Where's like I understand you're getting cold air because it's farther away from the motor, but then that metal is gonna, or whatever it's made out of. I don't want to just say metal, but whatever it's made out of. I think Tom said the material of what it's made out of is what causes it either to get really hot or do nothing. Because obviously, okay, so it's lower to the ground, so you're drawing in cooler air that's farther away from the motor, and then it's bigger. I understand that, so you're drawing in more air. But then by the time it actually gets up to the top of the intake, closer to the motor, isn't that already going to be pretty hot?
See, I felt my intake
Yeah.
after operating temperature of my car, and after I've done pulls and stuff, my intake doesn't get hot.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I wonder, and I wonder, do you have anything done? Do you have an oil cooler?
yeah, it's stock oil cooler.
Stock? Because what the one, I think the 09 through maybe 2011 370s, they either like didn't have an oil cooler, it was a really garbage one, and then in 12 or 13 they put a better, or just in general, an oil cooler on it. And yeah, because like I guess people were tracking it and they were having problems with the oil overheating.
It just cracks me up though, those by the box or by the number kids. Yeah, this says it's going to add 15 horsepower. This says it's going to add 20 horsepower. I'm just over here like, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people spend all that money on it, but it's kind of like I'm spending all this money, so I'm going to believe whatever the box says. I mean, with a tune.
But the box says, or even if somebody has the exact same car, you can't even go by what they had because every car is different.
Yeah.
You can do the exact same thing to two different cars and get maybe 5 more horsepower to this car or 10 more horsepower to this car. It's the way, it's just different.
Yeah, it is. But I think that like I said, I think that people just spend all that money and then they want to say, oh, well, the box said, or the internet said. Oh my God, like, I don't know. There's some discrepancies with the 370Zs. As in, some people use the still-in intakes, which are real popular, and then other people do K&N filters with the post-MAF tubes. And
Okay.
And it's funny because people all over the forums are like, oh, people are getting the same amount of power for spending half the price, or almost the same amount of power for the K&N filters in the past post-MAF tubes. But if you literally go to like the websites that sell the tubes, it literally says in the disclaimer, does not add any power whatsoever. But the Cobalt, what intake do you have?
I have actually, I strictly buy parts through a parts supplier named ZZP.
Oh, that's right. You like
They
that.
strictly do parts for the 3800, the Ecotech, and the Cruising Sonic motors. They actually have the fastest Cobalt SS in the world. Their fastest one is 6 seconds in the quarter mile.
Holy crap.
I think their slowest one is 11.
God.
And they also have the fastest Grand Prix GTP. It runs something like 7 or 8 seconds.
Good God.
Yeah. No, they don't play around.
I wonder if anyone's converted those cars to rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive.
Their 6-second one is a rear-wheel drive.
Really? Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, I want to eventually.
I feel like that would be so. I feel like that would add a little perfection to that car, especially if it was rear-wheel drive or even all-wheel drive too.
You know, I actually haven't. I've been looking up, and there's really not any way to convert my car to all-wheel drive. Like, there's no. I would have to custom fabricate parts.
Oh, yeah, they don't sell anything.
Nope.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the nice thing about your car is that like there was such a market for that car. There's such a big market.
And like my intake is it's actually run. What it is goes from the throttle body down to the right, down through the bottom of the fender, and then it bends back up and curves back up. And if you take my headlight and headlight bracket off the filter, I have a K&N filter, and it's pointing right at you. But to answer your question, it's ZZP piping and K&N filter.
Oh, okay. So you literally just now did that come all together? ZZP sold the piping with the K&N filter. Or you bought it separately.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that they did that. I didn't know that they meshed brands like that.
Yep.
I mean, a filter is a filter at the end of the day.
any piping they have, like exhausts and metal, they actually fabricate and weld themselves.
Wow. You know what the corniest thing is? You know at O'Reilly's how they have the, and I'm not hating on O'Reilly's. I used to love working there, kind of. But the people that work there I loved. But you know what the corniest thing ever is? I don't know if anyone's ever been to O'Reilly's and you see they have the K&N filter set up and they have the little tiny ping pong ball. You know what I'm talking about? That ping pong. Dude, the ping pong ball weighs nothing. You could poke a hole in the regular filter and the ping pong ball will fly into there.
Yeah, and basically what they were explaining is like how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Is when you put the regular filter in, the ball moves like this much, and when you put the K&N in, it goes all the way to the top. And if you look at that in terms of a car, you're basically saying you're getting this much air into your intake as compared to this much with a stock filter, and no.
Enough to lift a ping pong ball foot in air. Yeah. It's basically, if no one's ever seen it, it's a cylinder. It's literally a cylinder that's clear, and there's a little motor that has a fan in it. So here's the cylinder, and here's the ping pong ball, and here's the fan, and when you replace the filter, it draws in air and pushes the ping pong ball to the top.
You can adjust. There's a flap on the back.
Yeah.
And that's how.
Yeah.
You can adjust that.
It's so stupid. I feel like that's the corny. Oh yeah, you'll have enough. You'll draw in more air. Like that's just. They could have thought of better marketing, but I guess there's a lot of people that go, "Oh my God!" Like they don't actually conceptualize it and think to themselves, "Wait, that ping pong ball weighs nothing."
Yeah.
It's not magic. The ping pong ball just doesn't weigh anything. Like it takes zero effort to get that into the air. But yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's interesting too how. Okay, so when I had my Eclipse, I would always tease my buddy that had his Cobalt SS, and it was so freaking fast. But I used to tease him all the time because he'd be like, "Oh yeah, your Ricer car," and I was like, "Ricer car?" I'm like, not really, like, because his Cobalt was a 4-cylinder turbo, and mine was a V6, and it's crazy how the import scene has such an effect on the American cars. Like I know we talked about this last time when we tried to talk about with Tom. But the new Camaros, they're copying Ford. Obviously, they're getting a 4-cylinder turbo.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I don't. That's just so. I feel like. Can you really feel like a badass rolling up next to someone? Now granted, they do produce good numbers for a 2.0. Like that is incredible numbers. But could you really feel like a badass pulling up next to someone in a Camaro and being like, oh, like, popping the hood, oh, what's in that thing? Man, it's a 2.0. Like, that's sweet. Like, your car, perfectly fine. It's a Cobalt. You can produce crazy numbers. Everyone knows what, you know what I mean? Like, that is awesome. But an American muscle car, that just seems a little...
Yeah. And, sometimes I even granted, I love my car, and I love the work that I put in it. But just... in the back of my head, I always get, it's a 4-cylinder. It sounds like a 4-cylinder.
But it's fast.
I mean, it is quick. I wouldn't say, but and of course, if you get a car person who understands, that has knowledge, they can look at it as in, all right, well, they'll immediately jump to the fact, well, what's done to it. That can be fast. It possibly is fast.
Yeah.
But I've had people literally come up to me and say, dude, that's a Cobalt. And I'm just thinking of that. You just don't know what you're talking about.
It is what it is. And here's the other thing, too, is that everyone has their own price range. Everyone has their own price range. And it's not about necessarily what the car that you have, but what you can buy with the money that you have and what you can do to it yourself. That really determines who the person is. To
go buy a new Camaro SS or what I did. I actually pulled a Camaro SS on the highway the other day.
Oh, really? What year?
It was a 5th gen.
You pulled him?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what year. It was 5th gen though.
Do you know if it was auto or manual?
It was a manual.
Wow.
Yeah. pulling by two cars.
Do you know up to what speed?
It was 45 to 100.
That stupid little Cobalt. Dude, I'm not going to race your Cobalt. I'm going to lose, and I'm going to get pissed and probably drive it off a cliff. Dude, so you know what's going to happen is it's just going to get worse and worse. There's going to come a day where I'm going to have enough funds, and I'm going to go buy a GTR. And then by that time, you're just going to have, like, some crazy stuff, and I'm going to be like, all right, Nick, I'm ready to race. And then you're going to be like, dude, did I tell you what I got done to it? It's twin charged.
Well, next year is actually turbo swap.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm turbo swapping next winter. Hoping to put down some good numbers. With the setup I'm doing, I should be, with just the setup, I should be right around 400 horsepower.
God. Well, did they have the same size engine, the supercharged and turbo ones? Did they have the same size?
They had the same 2.0 liter, but they were actually built completely different.
Yeah, isn't one like sideways or something like that?
That was the 2.4.
The 2.4 sideways. That's the naturally aspirated SS?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because not a lot of people knew that they made those.
They did. They actually were a mid-range between the of course the 2.2 base model LS and LT, which came stock with 140 horsepower. If you got the manual version, it came with 155. The 2.4 SS NA actually had 180.
180.
And then you got the supercharged stock came 205, and then the turbocharged stock came 260. Yep. So.
Man, and that's just so funny because I think, how many of those did they make? They probably only made a couple thousand.
They made a good bit of them. What's actually rare to find in the 2.4 NA is a manual.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I've only seen a couple of them, but I remember asking my buddy about it that had the Cobalt Brian, and I was like, yeah, like, what the heck is that? And he's like, no, dude, that's naturally aspirated. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's a naturally aspirated one. I go, but it says SS. He goes, doesn't matter. And I started looking into it, and I was like, good God, I didn't even know that they made one of those.
You know what they did make that was really rare? It was a Rally Sport Cobalt.
They did?
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know exact numbers, but I know there was very, very, very few of them.
I'm going to have to look into that. The Rally Sport one. Yeah, and we also talked about last time.
It was...
yeah, what's up?
It was like a step up of a base model. It just had like some nicer interior or stuff like that.
Oh, so it wasn't like anything crazy.
No.
They do that a lot with cars. They'll put like sport. Actually, the new... This is going to sound... not really sports car, but I don't know if you've ever been in a new Ford Explorer Sport.
No.
Dude, my buddy bought one, and they're twin turboed, and they have 365 horse. And dude, you know what? They get it. They get it. They're heavy, but they get it, man. And I told. Oh, did you also know? Here's another thing. I don't know if you knew this, and this isn't necessarily new news, but I feel like not everyone knows this. Ford is offering for their turbocharged cars, I don't know if it's for all of them or just the Mustangs and the Focuses, but they're offering a custom tune.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you knew that, but it voids like part of your warranty if you have like, I don't know what the exact numbers, so don't quote me on this, but if you get a Ford tune, instead of it being like a 100,000 mile warranty, it would be like a 30,000 mile warranty. Which, I mean, I don't know why anyone, if I'm gonna void my warranty, I'm just gonna void my warranty and go big.
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
Weird. Why would I get just some garbage Ford tune when I can have some off the wall, balsa all night?
That's why I'm like strange to buy a new car, a new muscle car, is because for warranty, I'm gonna want to do stuff to it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, granted, I know how to work on my own cars, but under warranty, that's free.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, that's free. They repair it for free, which saves money.
Yeah, you just gotta fight with them for a few hours and then it's free.
Yeah.
Cause I look at my car and I go, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I talk to Nissan, they're like, yeah, you could put in a cold air take, yeah, you could put in exhaust, just can't tune it. But what's the point of doing all that if I'm not going to get it a tune? You know what I mean? Cause it's just gonna run really lean. Lean, I think? Yeah, it would run really lean. Because you'd have more air coming into the chamber than gas?
Well, just with an exhaust and an air intake, I don't think it would knock you too far off in the lean area.
It's the headers that do
It'll
it.
be Stoich, but you would definitely be getting in there a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's the headers that do it. I don't know. What is my cat? My cat's like acting like a psychopath.
Here's what I would do. That I actually am going to do it to run ethanol. I would get a second PCM for your car. There's actually, I've heard people do this to get around it. Get a second PCM for your car, tune it how you want, but, when you take it back for a warranty, just swap them back.
Oh, now there's an idea.
Yep.
That's a real good idea. But see, I feel like the 370Zs, they're like kind of like inconsistent. Like I've heard of some people like blowing them up, like not as bad as like some of the like STIs were blowing up. But yeah, I don't know. There was some kid that blew up like 3 STIs. I think I'm not saying any names. You know who I'm talking about? He like I don't want to give anything away, but he blew up like 3 STIs from like, I don't know if it was garbage tunes or whatever. 3 of them, dude.
Well, I know.
I want my car to blow.
I've heard it's not really that easy to tune an STI. Grant, did he tune it himself?
I don't know. We never got that. A lot of his friends, Crux kids. A lot of his friends, I think, did that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it blew up 3 times. I'm just willing to bet whoever was tuning it didn't know what they were doing.
Didn't know a damn thing.
Because for adjusting the tuning capabilities of your car, which you can do with, I don't know, like you can get those, cheap Diablo sports tuners and like stuff like that. But HP tunes are really, they're like right below dyno tuning pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're messing with that stuff, you really got to know what you're doing because if one air is you can adjust timing, fueling, air, a bunch of stuff, and if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I made a mistake last time we were talking. I told you that my buddy with the Cobalt SS had a trifecta tune. He had what's the other one? HP, I don't know what it is.
HP tunes?
Maybe it's an HP tune. Dang, now I need to...
Well, they did make a trifecta tune for the Cobalt. It was made turbo.
Yeah, they did, but I actually talked to him about it. And now, of course, here I go to, like, right my wrong, and I can't remember what kind of tune he had. HP... Hello Kitty tune. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was probably a Hello.
It was definitely a Hello Kitty tune. I heard they're good for like 400 horse.
Oh yeah, easily.
Easy. But yeah, so I forget, man. I can't remember. I don't know. So what do you think your next guy's going to be after the Cobalt? You got any ideas?
I really, really, really want one of the new Chevy SS's.
They're still making them?
Well, they were originally going to only be made for 2014.
That's
then
right.
Sales were up for a little while. And, all right, so why not make this for 3 years? So they're going to make it until 2017, I think. And I recently just heard that this is actually going to be the last year for them because the sales. I've seen 3 of them around where I live.
Quite honestly, I've never seen one. I've never even seen one. Unless I'm just not paying attention.
Gorgeous.
Now, would you keep the Cobalt or use that as the down payment? You gotta keep it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't get rid of that. Yeah. Because, I got a pretty quick car coming out, street racing, stuff like that. Come out one night, oh, hold on, let me go home and get my real car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I met some guy, I was driving the other day, and he had some, it was some crazy looking Miata, and it had some crazy wing on the back of it, and he's some old hippie looking dude, and he looked over at me, he's like, I track Porsches for a living. And I was like, right on, man. Right on. Man, I wish I could land a job like that, just tracking Porsches. And there was some other guy, God, who was I talking to? I was talking to someone on my Instagram. And he's doing a photo shoot. Oh, what is his name? I might actually, hold on. I know we're not supposed to use our phones, but let me just check here. Just because I want to mention him. What's this dude's name? If I don't find it here in a second, I'm going to be pissed. I don't know what it is. Oh, is it Mystic? Yep, Mystic Reality. That's what his Instagram is. But I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll probably just put the picture in there. But there's an Aventador in there, and I was talking to him on Instagram, and he said that the guy that drives the Aventador, his job, because I asked him, I said, well, how did you obtain the Aventador? And he said that dude's job was to drive around this dude's supercars and maintain them and keep them driven.
That's awesome.
Dude, where do you get a job like that? Like Craigslist? Craigslist? I don't know. How do you get qualified for a job like that? What do you have to? Yeah, what are your qualifications? First of all, how do you find someone, and then what do you have to be qualified in doing?
Because you don't have enough points on your license for this job.
Seriously, you should have points if you want it. Yeah. Yeah, but I just thought that was incredible. Man, how sweet would that be to have that job?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some like Pittsburgh International Raceway or something like that. It's like a go-kart track.
Yeah.
And they were just holding a event, and for like $500 you can drive like a GTR, a Lamborghini, and like a McLaren or something like that.
They have that in Vegas.
And there was one more thing, like if you paid like $800 you can drive. I don't remember what those cars were, but I was just thinking, wow, I wish I had $500.
Yeah, in Vegas, they have, it's like you can drive it 5 laps around the track for $200. And there's like a huge list of like supercars. I think they just got like, I don't know, like a Hurricane in or something crazy. And dude, like $200, 5 laps. Like if you really think about it, that's such a ripoff. But at the same time, like man, like you could drive almost any supercar for $200. That'd be a blast. I don't know. I've never been just cruising around in a supercar before, so to me that just sounds like phenomenal.
You think like, and you put into the weight consideration, and you know, if you think about it, like I said, I'm sitting at about 300 horsepower right now. I'm only 100 horsepower away from, you know, keeping up with the GTR, because at 400 horsepower, GTR is going to stop at 500. You know, with that weight difference, I'm maybe 100 horsepower away.
Yeah, but there's something the GTRs do though. Like there's something, I don't know if they have really good gears or I don't know if they use the VVEL system in those cars or not. But there's something weird about those cars, because if you look at those cars and then compare them to like other cars like the Ferraris and other things that have way more power than them, they're like smoking them or keeping up with them. I don't know how they're doing it. But I remember Nissan when they came out, when they were using launch control. That was like that was what was just killing it for them, because they were obtaining those like 2.9 second, 3.1 second 0 to 60s before anyone was even near that.
Oh yeah.
And the new Nismos, they're producing like 600 horse. I think they're really nice.
Like, there was actually a video, and it was a Cobalt, and I don't remember if it was like a ZFR build or a 256, but it was a turbo. And the Cobalt, and they said what kind of numbers they were putting down. The Cobalt only put 450 down, horsepower-wise, and the GTR was putting 750. And they, and at some tracks, they'll do it. You know, you see normal track, they're obviously sitting there and then they both go. But at some tracks, they'll actually roll into the tree. I'm sure you know this.
Yeah.
They'll roll into the tree at 40 miles an hour, and then they'll take off.
Yeah, it's like a roll race. Like you like keep the same pace, and then as soon as you hit the tree, you go.
And there was a race between this Cobalt and the GTR, and I mean, this Cobalt just put a bus length on this GTR, maybe 2, you know. And it's just all about how you build your car, and you know.
Yeah, well, that too, and you also have to think, like, if you have a GTR and it's all-wheel drive, you have the power going to all 4 wheels, so you have a lot of parasitic loss there. And plus, the GTR, like, once you're already moving, that all-wheel drive isn't helping you anymore.
Yeah, people think all-wheel drive is great. Well, yeah, for a launch, but at top end, high RPM, you're losing more power with an all-wheel drive car than you are.
You know, I actually heard that if you don't have launch control, it's kind of tricky to launch an all-wheel drive car. I heard that. Why is that? Have you heard that? I heard someone talking about that. I don't know.
I don't even know why you need launch control for an all-wheel drive car. I mean, unless you're pushing like serious horsepower on lightweight, take a 4,000 pound car, for example, maybe even 3,800 pounds, you know, you need to be pushing 900 horsepower to do burnouts on an all-wheel drive car.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard that some crux kid or someone was talking about that or something. I don't know. What time we got here, dude?
We're at 35 minutes.
35. Oh man, you can keep track over there?
Yeah, I got a timer right at the top.
Oh my god, I didn't even freaking notice. How unprofessional am I? Yeah, the last one I did, dude, it took hours. I don't know if it's my computer, but it took hours for it to download. It was so miserable. I had to leave it on overnight, which is what I'm gonna have to do for this one. So, yeah, so the next one, dude, if you literally want to be on every single one of them, you could be on every single one of them, and we could just have other people on with you. But,
sure.
Dude, absolutely. There was some girl from Australia that was going to be on it, and she hasn't gotten back to me, kind of agitated me. But there's some other chick from California, I think, that's going to be on the next one over the weekend. She seemed really cool. I talked to her. She has like an STI. It's like really nice. It's like I think it's like a 13. I don't know what year it is. 13 maybe? I don't know. Okay. It's really nice. She tracks it. She said, I'm pretty sure that's what she said. Mm-hmm. So we could kind of BS with her. She's really cool. And then I think I invited you on Facebook to the page I made for the podcast page. I just feel like it's going to be easier just to talk to people through that. So,
I am going to the track tomorrow.
Are you?
I fixed the roll pin.
Uh-oh.
So we'll see what numbers I can turn. Hopefully they're good.
Okay.
I'm still tinkering with the launch in my car because, you know, I haven't really messed around with it too much after this current build. So we'll see.
Well, like I said, I don't know how you should actually talk to my buddy Brian about what he did with his. It's I think, Nick, I think you either should rape the clutch essentially and have kind of like a little bit of a slower takeoff, but no wheel spin.
Yeah.
Or dump the clutch but at a very low RPM.
Yeah. I'm usually launching at around $2,000, and I mean anything over $2,000, it's spinning. Yeah,
I think you want to like so if you're $2,000 and your foot's all the way off the clutch, as you pull the clutch off, like pull it off like half the amount of speed you normally would, and then like floor it. It's like it's just trying to get that perfect rhythm, which is so hard to do. Especially if you're front wheel drive and you're going to be spinning. Because do you spin anyway, like through first? Like if you're moving like 10 miles an hour.
I think I can only get on the throttle maybe a little over halfway down in first gear. Otherwise, it'll just spin.
Yeah, Brian's car would spin all the way through first, all the way through second, and partially through third. It was ridiculous. Like on good tires. So, yeah, I don't know. Try that out. Let me know. Post some time slips. I'll put them on my freaking Instagram, dude. So.
Sure.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm gonna edit this, and hopefully some people listen to it. I don't know if you looked at I actually have a website now and a podcast site. I think there was like 100 and some download. I don't know what it was. It was some decent numbers. So if you want to check into that, go ahead, share it, whatever, and I'll text you as soon as we get off. So.
All right, man.
All right, dude. Have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you in a few minutes, man. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. Later.
All right. Anything Exotic Podcast.